It's not always easy and it's not always good, but I wouldn't trade it. All right, guys. I'm gonna have to get y'all in a stall because there's work to be done here. Y'all are out of hay. So, Spice, be a good boy. Be a good boy. All right, y'all are definitely waiting, aren't you? Okay, well let me get something to entice y'all into the stall, okay? Okay, so we are out here at the barn today, and I know that farm life looks so attractive sometimes, but I want to show you the reason why farm life is not always about the good. You know, there was a video that Cog Hill put out about the baby calf. That's one of the reasons that farm life is not always good, because there is things like that that happens on a farm, and you know, it's very sad sometimes, but you have to keep the mindset that it's just a part of farm life, and that it's not always going to be glorious and exciting and beautiful. So today I want to show you a couple of the reasons that it is not so glorious. For example, there we go, right there. Somebody has to shovel that, and my Caden is hurt, so today it's going to be me. I'm going to be shoveling that, and it's not pretty, it's stinky, and it's got to be done. So what we're going to do is we also have to have hay, because you can see they've eaten all of theirs. We're out in the stall over there. So we're going to go and load up hay, and I have to be creative. So what I'm gonna do, instead of trying to lift it up on the truck to get it here, because I'm gonna be huffing this hay by myself. So instead of trying to lift it up on the truck by myself, since these bales are extremely heavy, I'm going to load them in the bucket of the tractor while it sits on the ground. That means I don't have to lift it and I don't have to break my back. Now, it's probably only going to hold a couple of bales at a time, but I only need to bring 6 to 8 over here, so a few trips. So what I can do is load up 2 bales at a time, bring it over here, put it in the stall, feed the animals the first couple, but then on the trip back, I can take a bucket of poop to the compost pile. Now, I've also got to get out here in the pasture. So this is going to take me a while this afternoon, but like I said, it's not always pretty work on the farm. It's very time consuming. There's something to be done every day. The animals have to eat every day, twice a day. You have to swap them over to pastures. You have to shovel poop. You have to load hay. You have to go on feed runs. You have to clean waters. You have to replenish those waters. And it's something every day. Now, Dixie and Sophie love to drag limbs. The goats will eat pine limbs that we cut, and once they're just wooden stalks, Dixie and Sophie like to drag them all over the pasture and play with them like toys. So my job is I have to pull all those up off the ground and stack them up into a pile that can be easily either taken to compost or burned on location. So today is hay day, and we are going to bring the hay and shovel poop. Oh, my hubby has left stuff in the tractor. If I turn them sideways, I can get 3 at a time. That'll be pretty sweet. All right, let's see if I can turn that up more. All right, let's take the hay and put it in the barn, and it looks like if I can do 3 at a time, that perhaps I can keep it down to 2 or 3 runs. So we shall see. Yes, this is going to work just great. I've got this really lightweight shovel here, and this is all Nellie's. This is not even getting into what the cows do. This is just Nellie. So Nellie's decided this is where she's going to poop at from now on. Right here in the stall. She doesn't realize she's taking away room to lay down in here when it's cold. And I could scoop it up with the bucket, but I would scoop up a lot of the sand in here. And this shovel actually allows for sand to fall through. So hopefully I'm getting more of poop and less of the sand. Yeah, farm work isn't always clean. Isn't always pretty, for sure. There's a lot of the dirty work involved. But if you're going to have animals and you're going to run a farm, you can't be scared of it. You got to be able to shovel poop and load hay. I know I have to shovel in here, but out there in the pasture, there are like piles of poop from Nellie. She likes to go in the same pile every time. So that makes it easy on me, except that it kind of piles up when I'm busy because, you know, I've got a lot going on in the house, and I'm still a wife and a grandmother, and I try to get all of the household stuff done, the laundry done, the baking done, and I'm in the middle of remodeling my kitchen by myself. So I have a lot going on. With all that and the poop piling up, they make this thing that you can hook behind a tractor that will spread the poop for you in the pasture, and it's not in a pile. So I'm looking at getting something like that. And I know that they sell them at Tractor Supply. I know that they sell them online from different manufacturers, but I am looking at it. Now, when will I get it? I don't know. It might be spring before I get something like that, and I might just be fertilizing out there in the pasture for seeds to grow. But right now, the main priority is we are about to have a freeze. So I've got to get to town and buy some bales of straw because, you know, I told you that straw is hollow and holds hot air that accumulates during the day, and it releases that hot air at night and keeps the stalls warm. So I've got to go and get straw and put in here, but at least I've got the poop up, so Nellie will have a fresh start, and I know that she's going to do that. But I can put straw down in here now and straw in for the goats, Nellie, and the bull calves or the steer calves, and hopefully we will get prepared for this freeze and cold weather that we're about to have, and they are calling for snow. So that's going to be one of those things where you just have to stay on top of it, and it's a part of farm life. Farm life's not always good, remember that. It's not always smiles and cheerfulness. Of course, farm life's what you make it. I still would not trade it for anything in the world. I love this life. So now we're going to go and we're going to take, let's see if you can see it. We're going to take the poop to compost, and then we're going to pick up more hay, bring to the stall, and go ahead and fill the hay feeders and get that done for the day. Then I can go back in and do some stretch and folds on my sourdough that I've got baking and finish up some laundry. So let's get all this done and see what we get into next. Okay, I'm gonna take a break for a minute while I'm in here offloading hay. You may hear some goats, you may hear Nellie, you may hear the dogs, but hopefully you can hear me okay. So a lot of you have reached out to me, email, Facebook Messenger, and also through the comments that I've been reading and asking why don't I intervene with the emu eggs on day 59. So I took that advice. Someone actually said that, you know, if it were a calf that was still in the sack that we needed to get out, or a baby goat, we would intervene, and you're absolutely correct. So I made the decision to intervene, not once, but twice. So on day 59, I attempted to rescue a baby emu from the egg. Unfortunately, it was fully developed and the egg sac had been absorbed, and it was time for it to hatch, but it did not make it. It had a lot of fluid on it, and it was not going to do well anyway. So it did not make it. And the second one, same thing, same scenario, but the egg sac, the yolk sac had not absorbed, and it had a lot of edema. So I stopped right there. It was not worth it to me to try any further because I still have some eggs that are moving that are still alive. So rescuing from the eggshell was no longer an option for me because I could not stand the thought of what if it were me that the reason that it expired. I've been researching and researching and researching on YouTube and on the internet regarding hatching and incubating emu eggs because I want to know everything there is to know about it. But the only thing that I could find was other YouTubers who had been unsuccessful and then were successful. And yes, I've tried reaching out to other YouTubers and I got absolutely zero response. It was like, don't talk to me. I don't know. But, and I got to think in my mind that they may have thought I was crazy or they don't know who I am. They didn't know that I was for real, maybe. They didn't have time. Any number of things. But I was pretty bummed out, y'all. So this video was a little bit late because I was very bummed out. I was sitting on the couch drinking coffee thinking, what can I do? I don't know what else to do. I don't know where I'm going wrong. Y'all, I actually just prayed about it. I just prayed about it and said, Lord, if it be your will, just show me where I'm going wrong. I really want these eggs to hatch. It was no time, y'all, that something showed up on my YouTube feed. And I clicked on it because it looked like it was from a university. And it said, emu egg incubating and hatching. Y'all, this was a video that someone took from an old VHS tape from a university. It explains the egg shell structure, its purpose. It explained the development of the embryo. It got down to scientific facts. It explained everything that could go wrong. Let me tell you what I have found. And I was super excited, and I know it's after the fact, but y'all, I took this to heart because humidity matters. You've got to have your humidity under control at all times. So it gave the reference for humidity for incubating emu eggs and how long they should incubate, at what temperature, when you should stop turning, when you should turn. So let me tell you the things that could go wrong. There are 3 things, and all 3 things is what I found when I opened the egg. Number 1, if your humidity is too high when incubating and hatching, you will find the chick cannot break the shell because it's flipped upside down. All my chicks were upside down. I could not understand why their faces were never even inside the air pocket. I couldn't give them an air hole because they weren't in the air pocket to receive the fresh air. They never got there. So the flipped upside down chick is a sign of too high of humidity. The other thing was the wet chicks, edematous chicks, swelling. The egg sac, if it was absorbed, was humongous in the belly of the chick. I found that in one of the chicks. Another chick I found had not absorbed the egg sac at day 60 and simply died. That is another sign the humidity is way too high. So that just told me that the thing that I did wrong was I didn't control that humidity good enough. I made more adjustments. I've brought that humidity really far down to the lower end of the scale of where it should be. How am I going to control the humidity when even with very little water in the incubator and the hatcher, the humidity still runs high. The humidity in my house, I have the whole weather station. You can see Sophie, sweet Sophie's over here. The weather station in my house shows that the humidity in my house is up in the 50s. And that's with the AC running during the heat of the day and the heat on at night. It's just the humidity is too high. So y'all, today I will be receiving by FedEx a room dehumidifier. So I'm investing not only my time, but I'm investing my money in hatching these eggs because I want them. I want them to hatch. I want to have one successful hatch and then start from there. If I can get one to hatch, then I will know what I'm doing and how I did it. So I got a few more eggs. So I'm just really, it's going to be one of those waiting games. Now, what I've done so far until the dehumidifier gets here is I have very little water. I took the big water trays out. I put little bowls in there, tiny bowls. But then I covered those bowls with aluminum foil to where there is a smidget, just a crack to where any kind of humidity could escape that bowl. So the water's lasting forever, but very little of it is getting to the inside of the incubator and the hatcher. Now, I'm keeping that humidity under 30. When the humidity is right, and it is between 25 and 35, and hopefully somewhere around the 30 mark, which I'm keeping it at 28 and 29, the shells are supposed to become brittle. My shells never became brittle. They were very difficult for me to get into. I could not imagine those chicks having to bust through those shells. There's no way. I just don't think they could do it. With the humidity levels right, the shells should become brittle. The membrane into the air sac, none of them were dry enough for the chick to even break through. The membrane itself is very tough. Had they been flipped around in the right position, I don't know that they could have done it. Maybe so, maybe not. But it also said to look, if you find the chick upside down in the shell, facing down, one of the signs is the neck will be twisted. The necks were twisted. So there's no way those chicks could have hatched at any point. Now, the one that had absorbed the yolk sac that I tried to intervene on day 59, unfortunately, when you do that and the membrane is not dry enough, it still has the veins in there. And I'm not so sure that I did that right. I hated it. It did not feel like there were any movement already. I know it had been moving earlier, and it just was not moving at the time that I went in there. And I just think that I was too late. Now, I do have more eggs. And like I said before, I'm not optimistic, but I'm very hopeful. I have the humidity correct at this time, and I have it on the lower end, more toward the 26, 27 mark, hopefully trying to dry out so that the chicks won't be wet chicks. Their egg sac will absorb, and they will be flipped in the correct position so that they can break out of the shell. That's the only thing I know to do. So y'all, I know this is not good news about the emu eggs, but farming is not always pretty, and it's not always good. We try to correct our mistakes, and I am very much trying to correct the mistake because I really feel like the most help that I could have ever gotten was this old university VHS tape that had been put on YouTube by this person who says he's not monetized because he just wants the information out there. And if he's asked to take it down, he will. But he just feels like this information should have been shared, and I am so glad that the information was shared. I'm going to continue watching the entire video because there's good information about cell structure and everything scientific behind life with emus. And I just feel like that it would benefit me because I really want one. And I want nuggets, baby. Wouldn't that be awesome? So y'all, I'm trying, and it's not good news, but it's not bad news because I've learned something, and I'm correcting the things that I've done wrong so far. It's all about control. And I thought, you know, it can go a little bit high and it's okay as long as I can get it down relatively quick, but it's not okay, y'all. It is not okay. There are limits to everything, and unfortunately, it did an injustice to those eggs. I'm treating them like they are already part of the farm. I'm doing everything I can, everything in my power. So number one, I've swapped out the water dishes. Number two, I've covered the water dishes. Number three, I've ordered the dehumidifier for that entire room because when I go in that room, I want it dry. I want it dry enough that I can control the humidity inside that incubator every minute of the day. So far, since I found that out, it's controlled. But am I too late? I don't know. We will see. But if one hatches, gosh, y'all will certainly know about it. Y'all will hear me start screaming. So I'm going to get back busy, and I'm going to get more hay in here into the feed stall and let everybody out, because right now I've got everybody locked up just so that I can get the tractor in and out, shovel poop, put hay in the feeders, and y'all farm on.